Good morning guys, welcome to another video. 3rd of March today. It's about 9:30, something like that, just done the school run, and I've come out because the only time I've got today to do a little bit of fishing in the middle of the day. I should be doing the school run again later, so perhaps got 4 or 5 hours, something like that, perhaps 4.5 hours to get down the river, do a little bit of fishing. Now I decided to come to this particular stretch, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I fished it, it's on a new ticket I've got, and I fished it, maybe a month or so ago. It was terrible. So I thought I needed to come back and have another go. I fished the top end that day, and I was planning on doing the same today. I'm not sure the weather is going to cooperate. I had a drive up there. It's nice up there. It's a much smaller river than the one you can see behind me. Obviously it's the same river, but it's much narrower, much more suitable for trotting, which is what I fancy doing today. But it's a bit windy today, and it was quite blowy up there, so I've come right down the bottom end, and it's a lot less blowy down here, so I think we're going to have a go down here. That's the plan. Another reason for coming out today was that it was supposed to be very overcast, but of course Sod's law dictates that the second I get out of the car, the sun starts to come out, which is just about typical. But as you can see, we're down the Avon. It's a nice stretch. We've got a big bank on the other side, so there's no anglers going to be on the opposite bank at all. And just I fancied having a go, doing a bit of trotting. There's a nice run through here, as you can see. Just been feeding some mashed bread in. I've got my pouch on, as you can see, down there, full of mashed bread. I've just been putting a bit into this swim. This looks about the best swim down here because we're on the inside of a bend. And as the water comes round here, the flow is fairly close to us, and then it gets thrown across towards the other bank because obviously the water wants to go straight. So it's actually going diagonally across the peg, which is great because I'll drop my float in here and it will sort of go off and cover the entire width of the river. That's the plan. Anyway, just to quickly run you through the gear, I've got my Dower Tournament Pro 15-foot rod there. I've got my Dower 125M close face reel. Got a Drake alloy stem stick float on there, and that's just cocked with an Olivet. Now, if you want to look in a little bit more detail as to how I set this up, I'll send you to a link up there. You can go and have a look. I did a video over on the sister channel to this channel, the Fishing Tips, Tackle and Tactics channel, which I run through this in detail, so you can go over there and have a look at that should you wish. As I say, we're on mashed bread today, bread on the hook, that's the plan. I've got some maggots with me, but I think I'm going to stick on the mashed bread for now, certainly for a few hours. We'll see how we get on. And I've got this mixed up lovely and runny so that it will disperse through the water column and cloud the water up. And I have been asked in the past several times if I can explain how I mix this up. So again, I'll link you to a video over there on the other channel where I run through how to mix this up. Anyway, it's probably enough waffle, isn't it? Been feeding for 5 or 10 minutes. We'll have a crack, see how we get on. Hopefully this sun will go in because it's supposed to be a very overcast day today. That's what the Met Office forecast. So it'll probably snow and be really sunny. So as I say, I've just been feeding a bit of bread mash in for 5 or 10 minutes. I have nothing to go on down here as to whether this is any good or not. I mean, chub really is what I'm thinking today. It's very, very cold. We've got a northerly wind blowing, and it's proper chilly. Now, as I say, I've never fished down here before, so I don't know how deep it is. I started off at about 5 foot. It's probably a bit deeper than that, I would think. But we'll find out, I guess. We'll keep running through, just getting deeper and deeper on the float until we start to drag under. Been feeding for probably 10 minutes or so now. Blimey, we are dragging under already. Thought it might be a bit deeper down here. Wow, it's not deep at all. We may have to have a little rethink. I thought it'd be deeper than this, along here. We'll perhaps work this swim for maybe an hour. We're not pushed for time today. As I said, we've got perhaps 5 hours. We'll push the swim, work the swim for about an hour. See how we get on. And obviously we're feeding the swims further down. Should we not do any good in here, we'll work down. We'll perhaps go a little bit further down. A few trees down there. We could perhaps get under, or fish under, I should say. Let's see how we do. I can't believe this. It's dragging under at that depth. Okay. I could see the water's pushing through, so I did wonder about how deep it might be. It's very shallow, would seem. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be any good though. Well, that seemed like a bite. Straight away, which gives me confidence. Seemed like a small fish bite. Float shot under and pop back up again. Seems a little bit deeper, a bit further down, so perhaps we'll cast down there. Perhaps there's an old dead weed bed or something in the middle here. But yeah, I think that was a bite, which is a cracking start. Quite a long run in here as well. It's another thing that drew me to this peg. It's a little bit sheltered too. Just wish these lights stopped and go back down again. It's been lovely and overcast all morning. Right, we've run through there, not very fast. We could certainly have a waggler on here, I think. That's gone under. Right, okay, so it looks like it shallows up again at the bottom of the run there. Hopefully, if there's a few fish milling about, there's a bit of a reed bed downstream on the opposite bank. You can probably just about see there's a bit of cover on the other side. A few chub milling about. We might be able to draw them out. This river can be very, very difficult though when it's like this. I've said in previous videos, it's very clear. And the fish in the day just tend to clear off. So, we may struggle. But we'll have a go. So my mate always says, it takes one bite to change a blank into a cracking session. That was a bite, I'm sure. Float came out of the water. Some funny goings on. Could just be the Olivet trip in the bottom, but it looks very much like sort of roach or something to me. There we go, we're in. Can you believe it? It didn't take long, did it? Perhaps it's chublets. Well, we've had a fish. Doesn't feel very big. Oh, all of a sudden it feels a bit bigger. There's a land in it. Behind me. Yeah, it didn't feel massive at all, and then suddenly it actually feels like a decent fish. A couple of times the float came right out of the water like the Olivet had been lifted. Well, it's not beasting me, but it's just plodding. Felt like a chublet at first. And now it's just holding in the current. Taking line. You're not going over there, mate. Come on. Cool, what a scrap. Blimey, what a scrap. I still don't think it's particularly big. Oh, it's a nice chub, to be fair. Can't moan at that. Come on. Well, he suddenly feels like a decent chub. God, that is a decent chub. Blimey. Blimey. That is a donkey. Oh my goodness. If that's not 5, it's not far off. Wow. About third run through. Blimey. Well guys, how about that? £5.13. Look at the belly on him. Absolutely wonderful. When you be fishing? 5 minutes? 10 minutes at the most. Absolutely epic. Just shows you what you can do when you drop on the fish. That's my biggest chub for a good few years. Over the moon with that. £5.13. Wow. What a lump. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, wow. That is absolutely wonderful. I did think, when coming out this morning, I did think, oh, nice chub. Nice big chub. Fancied a big chub before the end of the season. Can't believe that. I can't imagine for a minute we'll top that. It's very tempting to just say, mission accomplished, let's go home. But we're here now. We might as well crack on for a bit. But if that's the only bite we have today, cannot moan about that at all. Let's go around that way. They're not daft either, are they, Chub? So his mates all might have spooked. Assuming he had got a few mates down there. It's quite a way down. They're possibly luring them out from under that tree over there. I've been watching a few bits on YouTube recently. Obviously being winter, a lot of people are chub fishing, and it's these reeds. They do seem to like hanging about near reeds. These reeds sort of sticking out the water. I mean, rushes, I suppose you'd call them. They do seem to like areas with rushes. With the river this clear as well, I'm amazed. But I think this cloud cover is certainly helping. That's clouded over again. The sun was threatening to break out. Alright, that looks like a bite. That was a bite. That was definitely a bite. I'm sure there are some little fish rattling away at this bread down there. They're very little fish bites. Just dragging bottom in a few places. It might be worth shallowing up just a couple of inches. I can tell the difference between the bottom and the bites. They're very distinctive. Maybe worth doing what we did on the Y a couple of videos ago as well, and might be worth feeding for 10 or 15 minutes and then going back in. We'll see how we get on. We'll give it a go for 10 minutes. If we're not doing any good, we'll perhaps feed up for 10 minutes and then go back in. Worked really well on the Y the other week. I say the other week, beginning of the week. I was going to stay all day, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to be honest. My finger is not good. I don't think I've broken it, but I did some damage to it. Well, I did. That pike I caught in the last video did some damage to it. I had it chinned to unhook it. I just as I opened its mouth. Sorry, I was just getting a bit of a bite then. So as I opened its mouth, did a crocodile death roll. My hand slipped out aside from this finger, which stayed in and got twisted round. The pike was fine. It was on the floor on a mat. We got twisted round. I heard some crunching, which sort of cartilagey crunching, and my fingers swelled up, and it's fatter than my thumb now at the moment. It's quite sore. I was thinking I wouldn't need it today, but of course I've got to wind in. I can't wind in very well. I can't bend my finger. Joys of pike fishing. Yeah, it's right angry, that pike was. Very, very angry fish. Fought like crazy, going mad in the landing net, and then when I got it out, gave me a beating as well, again. I forgave her. Chucked her a few smelting under that tree we caught her under. If you know what I'm talking about, it's the last video. A few days ago. Went out after a pike. I managed to catch one. Very angry pike. Right, I need to run out of mashed bread, so we'll have one more run through behind this mashed bread. We'll get the rest of that out. We'll have one more run through behind that, and then we'll get this fella back and we'll get moved a bit further downstream. See if we can let another beastie. Oh, that's gone a long way down. Right. We'll call it a day there. As I say, we'll get this fella back and then we'll have a move. Well, there we are. We'll have one last look before we put him back. Fab. Cracking. Right. We'll get him back in the net. That's probably the best way, isn't it? It's very lively. Been resting up for a good half an hour. Back you go, fella. I don't want to leave. There he goes. Wonderful. So guys, not a lot's happened since we moved from the swim where we had that chub. I fished right the way down to the snaggy tree. I fished 3 swims, and the water just gets deeper and deeper and slower and slower. And when I got down to that tree, it's barely moving, the water. And I really mean barely moving. So what I've done is I've moved just above where we had that chub. I can run down, I could even run down to where we had that chub, to be honest, if I fancied it. But I've not had a single knock, absolutely no interest whatsoever. I sort of got into this swim, which is a proper swim. The club have put some planks in and stuff, made a proper sort of palletised swim, except it doesn't look like anyone's used it for a long time. There's all reeds over the top of it where it's been in the floods. It just gives me access down this run here. It'd be nice to be able to get down onto this mud here and fish, but it looks very, very soft to me. I know what the Avon's like. I think we'll be knee deep in mud if we go down on there. Might be worth a little of an explore in a minute, but I'll try from up here first off. There's much more pace on the water here. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot shallower as well, which it is, because I'm already dragging under. I'm barely 4 foot deep and I'm dragging under. I guess that's why no one fishes this swim. Chub do seem to want to be in the shallow water though. Well, I certainly did this morning. Yeah, that's very shallow. Right, we're about 3.5 foot to that Olivet now. I say it's about 8 foot further downstream. That's about 3.5 foot. To be honest, if it's closer in, I'll be able to see the bait. There's that much clarity. That seems to be going through a bit now. That's just dipped under. Is that the bottom? Looks like the sort of thing that could have been a bite. It's very shallow through here. If that's where the fish want to be, then obviously that's where you've got to fish. Well, it's very, very quiet. We've been up and down this stretch and not had another single bite. I'd either drop this in just the right place on that fish's nose or ran it past his nose. Clearly dropped right into the swim that fish was in. Looks like, I think perhaps we've caught the tail end of the morning feeding spell. I'm thinking that's probably what's happened. Before these fish have scarpered and we've dropped into the right swim at the right time. Got that fish. If there were any others in there, probably scared them off. And that's that. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. I wouldn't expect this river to fish all day like it is at the moment. As I say, I'm set about 3.5 foot deep in here, something like that. And it's just tripping the bottom. Actually, I can see the bread. This river just doesn't fish like this. We'll give it 10 minutes though. We won't give up yet. Perhaps have 10 minutes in here, running just through this run, and then we'll perhaps have another 10 minutes. Aye, that's a bite. What was I saying? Float shot away. I was going to say we'll have another 10 minutes in the next swim down, but yeah, I just saw the float absolutely shot away. God. Well, it doesn't feel huge, but it's a fish. He's going to stick us in the edge here, isn't he? Because he's a chub, I'm sure. He's going to try anyway. He is. He's got us tangled in there. I think we'll have to go down and get him. Yeah, he's put us in this these snags just below, so we'll nip round. Sorry you can't see anything at the moment, but hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, he's put us in these branches, these reeds. Just wondering if I can get the net down here and get him out. Whether he's going to come out on his own. He's heading for even more of them. He's got us in a right mess here. Sure, we'll extract him now somehow. See, it would help. To this next swim down and see if we can extract him downstream. And he's still there because he's taking line. Trouble is the float's stuck in a branch. Come on out. God, what a pickle. I can see him, he looks a nice fish. If we can extract him. Let's get the landing net, see if we can scoop him up. I don't think he's particularly caught. I think it's the float that's caught now. We'll try and get him out. Wonder if it's firm enough for me to get down here. Feels it. Right. To get that float out somehow. If we can get that float out, I think we've got a chance of getting him in. The float is so caught up in the reeds. There we go, it's free. Right, come on, chap. Just a case of getting that float out. It's actually under my landing net. God, blimey. What a scrap. God, it's another clonking fish, that's why. God. God, another monster. Oh. We got him. I hope you can see me. Another cracking fish. Oh. Yeah, the float was caught. That was the problem. The fish was okay. The float was caught. Well, another clonking fish, as you can see. I thought perhaps we'd got a brace of fives, but not quite. 414 this one. Absolutely took us all over the swim. Right, I'm sure I've wrecked this swim. Down here, getting down the side and scrabbling back up the bank, getting a landing net in the water down there. It was about where I hooked him as well. So I think I'm going to move back to that swim we started in just for perhaps 10 or 15 minutes. See if we can winkle another one out. Right, this fella's twitching. Let's get him back. So that's it. Time to make a move, but what an absolutely fantastic session that was. We've been here for 4.5 hours, but what a 4.5 hours they've been. We've had 2 proper bites. We've had 2 absolutely cracking fish. PB on the float, that's 513 and a 414 to go with it. What a brace, absolutely fantastic. It's definitely a place I'm going to be returning to, and I'm sure I'm going to return here before the end of the season. That's my plans. Hopefully we can get a bit of rain, put this river up perhaps a foot, colour it up, and it'll be cracking down here, I'm sure, with the way it's fished today. If not, we'll come down and have a go, perhaps when there's an overcast sky as there is today, and have another go, see what we can do then. But yeah, absolutely over the moon, as you can imagine. Now, busy weekend ahead, so I won't be out fishing, but I'm going to try and get out again early next week. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that half as much as I did. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your wonderful support, and I'll see you all again very soon.